Hey, time for another out of this world story from rSpace. My fiancé, 26 male, says he won't be able to supply money for our wedding despite working non-stop. I, 26 female, got engaged to Rick almost 5 months ago. We dated a year prior to that. Amount of money may confuse you because we live in another country, but I'll refer to it as dollars to keep it simple. We are both dentists and our average income monthly is $10,000. It changes from time to time. This is relevant to what I'm about to tell. When we first started dating, Rick expressed that he was going to help his older brother, Dan, 27 male, financially to get married since Dan financed Rick partially through his education. Even though Dan and his wife decided to get married after us, we waited until they got engaged to start our marriage process. Rick did everything he could during their marriage. He worked very hard and made around $250,000 for 2 years and gave every penny to his parents to help Dan's expenses. Dan also works and made the same amount by himself during this. When I stated that we would need money for our ceremony and home, etc., Rick claimed that his parents would save the money he earned for us too. I didn't think this was likely and encouraged him to save some money by himself, which he didn't. After Dan and his wife got married, I noticed that Rick was still handling money to his parents. We work in the same company so I can check how much he makes and vice versa. I once again asked him not to do that since we need to rent an apartment and start buying furniture and such. He said it was okay and his parents were saving his money for us. Around 5 months until our marriage and 3 months into Dan's, they were doing okay financially since Rick paid for everything and started considering buying a house. Rick's parents wanted to talk to me. They said they had no money to help us whatsoever. Reason given was Dan's wedding expenses, which was not an expensive ceremony at all. It was quite cheap to be honest because of the pandemic. I know that wedding costs around $100,000 tops and don't know where there's the rest of the money. Maybe Dan is planning to buy a house with it, I don't know. Rick and Dan and their father made a total of $600,000 in 2 years and didn't spend much for anything other than Dan's wedding and father's car, $80,000. Rick says we need to borrow money or get a loan to pay for 2 to 3 years after we get married, which I refused and once again requested him to get the money he earned from his parents. But he says that money is gone for good and we need to look ahead. I feel stuck and stressed at the moment. I earned as much as Rick did and will pay for my share of the wedding and goods, unlike Dan's sister-in-law who didn't pay for anything at all, which will cost us around the same as Dan's, $120K tops. So we'll share 60-60. But he says he doesn't know where to get 60K and says he needs to work too hard for 3 months until our marriage. But that's what he was doing all this time. And 3 months payment isn't enough for a wedding, which I doubt he would give it to his parents anyway. I feel hopeless for our future and feel deceived, which makes me depressed. I have no motivation to work or buy things for the house because I don't want to pay with loan money. Wow, this is too long to read and too many numbers. Let's see what the community thinks. SRes starts us off. The actual numbers don't matter, but him sending all his money to his parents does matter. Do his parents need the money on an ongoing basis? And what has happened to the money that he previously sent if only some of it has been spent? It all sounds a bit dodgy. He's told you one thing and something different has happened, but with no real explanation, and he's trying to brush it off. If you're going to get married, you can't have secrets, and what's to stop him still sending money? You need to sit down, get a full explanation, and make some decisions together. If you can't do this now, you've got to question if you should be getting married at all. Another thought comes from ZeroChan1. There are just too many points of contention for this to have a happy ending. His sister-in-law didn't have to put a penny towards the wedding, but you're supposed to take out a loan to finance his part of the wedding? He is bad with money. His father is bad with money. He gives his money to his parents for safekeeping, yet the money is somehow gone. He cheaps out on your ring. Whenever you want to talk about the money, he gives vague answers. This doesn't sound like someone with your best interests at heart. It's a financial disaster in the making, and I don't think this marriage will last. You are already unhappy with the financial situation while still having separate finances. Marriage is no miracle cure to problems. It doesn't change people. Don't expect all your problems to solve themselves through getting married. Don't expect your fiancé to change after getting married. That's not how it works. But wait, there's an update. It's been 2 months since I first posted and I thought some of you wanted to know what's going on, so here it goes. We went to couples therapy right after I posted that. We've been there a few times and plan to keep going regularly. What we came to conclusion during the therapy is basically Rick needs to separate himself from his family psychologically and financially. The psychiatrist said that he is attached to them in an unhealthy way and needs to act like an individual. which is the hard part for him. He tried to do that during our relationship by getting therapy by himself, but wasn't successful. He kept giving all the money to them and acted the way they command, hence I made the post. But he once again tried talking to his family after we went to therapy. I guess that therapy session made him see the situation clearly and how serious it is. Our therapist resonated with me about wanting to leave if things won't change, and he saw the reality of it. Anyways, he talked to them and stopped giving what he earns altogether. Not a dime this time, and we finally started to save our money for our home and marriage expenses. We bought some furniture already, but since we started from zero, it'll take quite some time to save all of it. So we postponed the ceremony to an unknown date. We'll get married whenever we feel ready. Now, about the money Rick made all this time. The therapist said that it's not my place to ask him where the money went since he made it himself. Giving me an explanation about the money he made earlier would make him dependent. I don't know if that's the right word. To make like it made him dependent to his family before, and it's not a healthy thing. Reasonable, but not what I wanted to hear. So she asked Rick if he wanted to learn money's whereabouts and if he's gonna confront his family or not, and he said he won't do that. So guys, I'll never know what happened to all that money. If they spend all of it, which they pretend they did, or saved it, or buying Dan an apartment with it, I have no idea. Because Rick doesn't plan to ask them at all. Thinking me saving so little despite not giving anyone at all makes me doubt the money Rick made is still out there. Wherever it is, I don't, and shouldn't, give a F anymore. I read all your comments from the last post and want to thank every one of you for all the great advice. Well, let's see what more advice the community has. 4.5 billion 45 says, I think postponing the wedding is smart. His family will try to manipulate and guilt him and do whatever else they can to hold on to him. Heck, they might even invent emergencies. He's going to be under a lot of pressure. I'm glad he can start to see what the therapist sees. Good for him for being able to. As for the money, instead of focusing on the past, maybe it would help to see it as you're a young couple intending to get married. How do people in this stage of life manage their money? I'm sure you can find suggestions online. If you make a plan as a couple, then you're both on the same page. He'll have to show he can save money steadily, start retirement savings such as work or from a Roth IRA if he didn't already, etc. These were very overwhelming for me and did not come naturally, and you can figure out what you should be doing better, or you might already be doing it, but it'll help if he knows you have to change your ways too. I wish you the best. One more comment from Bonnets. Rick should realize that the family he belongs to is not his parents, but your marriage. He has a new family now. He has new responsibilities. If he was an obedient kid until now, it might feel wrong to leave his parents' request unfulfilled, but he should see what happened. He did whatever his parents wanted him to do. He gave them all his money and trusted them, but his parents left him like this. It was the perfect decision to go to therapy. One cannot easily accept that his family disappointed him. Without therapy, Rick would create some reasons to defend his family and his own ego. Now therapy will help him overcoming these familial complexes. Don't expect this process to be fast. It may take years because these complexes were built deep since his childhood. They can relapse. He may find himself serving for his parents again. In every relapse, he should remember why he doesn't want to be his parents' server. It's a long-lasting process, but he will see he will be happier when he could be himself, not the person his parents want him to be. One more story. Am I the a-hole for telling my kids why we're getting a divorce? Alright, this is messy. Me and my ex-wife got married at 23 and had 3 kids. The 3 kids are 17, 15, and 14. I recently found out my ex-wife has been cheating on me for 3 years. Once I confronted her, she broke down, saying that I was never home, always working. By the way, I worked like that so she could be a stay-at-home mom. I raised my kids to know that cheating is one of the worst things in the world. If you no longer love someone, break up with them. Don't cheat. Even if you have issues with the relationship, work it out or leave them. Now, before we set them down, their mother begged me not to tell them she cheated. I told her that if they asked, I would not lie. She tried to dance around the whole reason for the divorce, citing adult issues. 14-year-old asked why we were getting a divorce, and I told him, flat out, she cheated on me for 3 years. The mother immediately burst out crying, and all the kids were incredibly angry with her. It's been 3 months, and they still haven't spoken to her, saying she ruined their family and their lives, and that she's a cheater and a liar. She's been coming after me online, saying that I'm a bastard and ruined her relationship with her kids. Am I the a-hole? The community weighs in, starting off with infamous Wasabi 907. Not the a-hole. I am a child of divorce. I would have rather known the truth at the time my parents split than learned it a few years later. Your wife cheated. That is a fact. She wanted to conceal that fact. That is an unrealistic expectation. Bad news is not a fine wine. It does not improve with age. Her relationship with the children took a backseat to her infidelity the moment she cheated. You owe her nothing, especially lying to protect her. Another comment comes from Lulu Lucy. You didn't ruin anything. She did by cheating. I was the kid in this scenario before. Not once did I think it was my dad's fault for ruining my relationship with her for telling the truth, nor did the slandering from her help. Stand by your kids close. They'll need it too during this. Even consider family therapy. Not the a-hole. One more thought from Gracie Girl's mom. I was a kid in this scenario too, and I knew what my mother was doing. Kids know more than you think they know. My parents decided to stay together though, for my sister and I. So I grew up with an alcoholic mother constantly fighting with my dad. Thankfully now, mom is sober and my best friend, and they are still married. Things worked out in the end. Not the a-hole.